Well, welcome to Stroke, the Junior Within podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Avila. I'd like to welcome you here. Hey, back up you. What's up, brother? What's up, my brother? From my different mother. There's Michael Bew out there. Can't wait to have my podcast again. This is something really kind of impromptu, kind of just casual. I was hoping to be a lot more than just you, me, and Bill, Micah, but it is what it is. This is just a segment I do when I get really behind in my work and don't time to prepare. But I also want time for us to just come together and talk. And Michael, can you hear me? I'm going to bring the chat audio. Here it is. So what I'm doing right there is, Michael, is bringing the chat up on screen so you can see it. So, Michael, you can hear me okay, which is kind of important for our podcast that you're to hear me. But it's just a time for us to get together and people at church called fellowship. But now, reality, I want to make a time where we just get together and talk about being stroke survivors, about any topic, anything that you want to talk about, we talk about. It doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, so great. My caboose is okay, so he's into it. And again, I'll do this, probably try to do something like this once a month minimum. Now, say do it last Friday of every month to do some type of podcast where we just get together and uplift and encourage each other. Hey, Michael, I'm curious. Um, what is it you deal with as a stroke survivor that you deal with on a regular basis? What struggle? What topic do you have to deal with? I'm curious. I don't mean to put you on the spot, bro. For me, I'll tell you about my biggest thing I deal with is mindset. The reason I named this podcast "The Stroke, Their Journey Within," because for me, stroke really took my. How many of us out there created our identity as men, as women, based on what we can do? Pretty much all of us. But in our reality, you have a stroke that takes away all your abilities. Now who are you? Who is your identity? Well, it wasn't. It Michael says confusion. I, the, Michael, our brains. Yeah, hard to get motivated. Oh, yeah, true. Michael's brought up a really good point. Hard to get motivated. Boy, I've been a stroke survivor for 15 years. I forget how long you've been a stroke survivor, Michael. But I've been a stroke survivor for 15 years. And motivation, discipline, are one of the two hardest things I battle every day, 15 years later. Yeah, Mike just said it's a new me. You know, who I was, who we were before a stroke is not who we are now as stroke survivors. I mean, the people call it 7 years. People call it recovery. But now reality, there is no way any of us are going to recover who we were. For me, I don't necessarily want to. But what the one thing that we can do, Michael, that we are doing, we are rebuilding our life after stroke. We're doing our best to try to rebuild a life after stroke. And I think probably the hardest part about rebuilding a life after stroke is, like you said, Michael, is discipline and motivation. Those are two of my biggest key factors that when I built Stroke TV Media, the reason I did it is because I was lacking motivation and that discipline. I can remember back when I first became a stroke survivor. Yeah, it's being able to deal with the changes. Boy, how many of us look, I mean, I know you do, obviously, Michael. How many of us look at the way we are now and have such a hard time dealing with it, our own selves? That is the ultimate battle, right? When we are battling our own selves the way we are. That is probably the hardest part. Michael's right. One of the hardest things to deal with is being accepting the way we are. And then, my wife is constantly telling me, says, Aaron, why don't you just accept who you are now? And to me, I get all defensive and I get spastic. And she's not saying to give up. She's not saying to keep trying. She's saying to accept the way we are. I have a speech that's given. I cannot, I'm paralyzed, half of it is given. What I'm saying is this: we have certain deficits, certain things stroke has done to us physically that we cannot change, that nothing can change them. So we must face them. The hardest thing we have to do is face who we really are. And the reason Rebecca was constantly telling me to accept the way I am, it gives us a starting point, Michael. Yeah, true. Like Michael just said, it's easier to sit than that do. Boy, is that true. I heard a saying one time. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always be what you've always been. So if you and I want to be different, Michael, we're gonna have to, number one, face what we are. Not easy to do, just like your comment before, deal with the changes. Why is it so hard to deal with? Because we have not accepted the way we are. I have the same issue. But like my wife was saying earlier, accept the way you are. Don't stop trying to get better, but accept the starting point. And that is probably the hardest thing I battle, accepting the way I am now. And that by not accepting it, I can't move on. I can't move forward. But if I look at my life, my limitations, my perceived limitations, the more I look at that, the harder it is for me to change it. So we need to look at the way we are, accept the way we are. I can't move about the arm. I can't about the hand. Wait, that's like that, but I accept that. I need to look at that change. I need to accept the change. It's the way I am. Now I have a firm starting point. Now I can do what it takes to get better, to rebuild my life. And the only way I'm going to deal with that is face myself. Mike up there just said that how do I deal with it? Well, I wasn't given a choice. But yes, that's not totally true. Stroke does not define who we are. Let me repeat that. Stroke does not define who we are. How we respond to what stroke has done to us does define us. So it's not what happened to us that makes us who we are, it's how we respond. How do we respond to what happened to us? I've known many stroke survivors, many, that have curled up in the ball, sat on the couch, and just take up space until they die. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to live again. I want to. Granted, there are some bit of days like I have a dream. I have a dream of driving again, walking. But that is not who I am. Who I am is what you see right now. Who I am, this is my response to stroke. And let me tell you, stroke, it was not verbal. It's not enough that breaks any rules. But, stroke is messed up. It's really messed up. Anybody that tells us stroke's not hard to deal with, it is. But Michael, to be a little bit more, if you would, of the chat, when people, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with the whole scenario? I don't remember being offered a choice to have to deal with it. How do you look at yourself, Michael? Curious. How do you see yourself now? For me, I think I can never realize that so I try to ignore it and move on. Uh-huh. I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. What are you trying to ignore? Tell me what you're trying to ignore. You say I try to ignore it and move on. What is it you're trying to ignore? Tell me what that is, because I'm curious if it's the same thing I have. Yeah, I'm having to wait for you guys to type it. I'm sorry, I'm talking. It's easy for me, but but I'm gonna not as I was. It's hard to let go of who you were. Oh, yes. Wow. But that adds a whole different layer, right? That's very insightful, Michael. And yes, now comes the frustration. Such a thing as a denial, and like in my case, sometimes I have to look square in my eyes and say how bad I am. But it's letting go of who I was. Honestly, for me, it's gone. And I've actually learned to embrace who I am. In fact, Michael, my stroke, it led me to my purpose in life. My purpose is what I'm doing right now. My purpose is helping other stroke survivors. For me, oh yeah, I can't bet about swimming. I love it. I have a pool. I don't know if you know that. We have a swimming pool, and one of the hardest. I swim in circles really well, one-handed. Well, he's got this Scott White from Georgia. Welcome to the Journey Within podcast. Let's talk. Let's just talk. Yeah, I have severe balance issue. A lot of people don't realize that I had a brain aneurysm first. And then 2 weeks later, well, all of a sudden it come out of stroke. The problem was my brain aneurysm was right next to my cerebellum. So it damaged my cerebellum. And you may have a stroke does that. The cerebellum is the balance center for the body. I'm going to be working on some new exercises for balance, and I'll share them with you, Michael. I'm sure they're going to work. The guy's an expert. In fact, I'll share them with you. I forget his name, but I'll share it with you. I don't have it handy. But he's an expert in regaining people, giving stroke survivors a way to regain their balance. Yes, right rear. So Michael had a right rear hemorrhagic stroke, right rear, which getting closer to the balance center. Like I said, cerebellum, which my stroke was right by. My balance, when I first had my stroke, I couldn't even sit up at the edge of the bed. I'd fall over. My neck was so pale as it just I just plopped down. So the other thing is this, Michael, Scott, that I may not be where I want to be, but I'm sure not where I used to be. I may not be where I want to be, which I'm not, but I'm not where I used to be. I mean, I'm a 9-day difference person of what I used to. So the only time that I say to look back, stroke survivor, is when you're looking back at where you came from. What were you like after your stroke? I mean, I know Scott White is in the oh well, that's not good. Balance, eye problems, balance in the brain, relies on the eyes. So I don't know what the answer is there, other than there's maybe some things you could do. I have a balance issue caused by the internal brain thing, but you have balance issue. It sounds like based on your eyes. But it doesn't matter. All the things are wrong with us. To think the abilities of stroke took away from us. They're gone. They're not coming back. Oh yes, we can get resemblance of that. I know for that because I swim, Michael. You can swim as a half paralyzed stroke survivor. I granted you're probably not gonna win any races, but hey, you can swim. I know I actually swim. This summer I'm gonna make it my goal to swim without a life jacket. I want to be able to jump into the deep end of the pool and swim. Now I swim a lot on my back, Michael, but I still swim and get to enjoy the water. And that's been a real blessing to me. But if you're looking for a purpose after stroke, I don't care what kind of condition you're in, what damage stroke has caused your body. If you're alive, I can tell you your purpose is to help other stroke survivors, inspire them. Scott says you can, as we find things you've lost, never give up on you. Well, Scott, I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're saying, but the word recovery just doesn't sit well with me. Recovery to me is so misused in the stroke world, the stroke community. Recover means you're trying to get back something you lost. And I think that I don't think it's possible. I think you only get, but you can't recover. You're not going to recover fully what you lost, but you can get back part of what you. Scott's a prime example. Scott was told he'd never drive. Never ever drive again a day in his life. Now he's already collecting thousands of miles. He's driving again. How did he drive? How did Scott go from being told he would never drive again to driving? Did he recover? No, I don't believe he did. I don't believe he drives like he used to. He rebuilt his ability to drive. And I really want you guys to hear that. He rebuilt his ability to drive. Meaning, we have to start all over, guys. We're in a place where we have to rebuild our abilities. It's not like we all of a sudden can have them. We have to rebuild them. And I think that's probably the hardest thing that we have to deal with is facing ourselves. But if we don't face ourselves, we'll never improve. Oh, right now, Scott. Yeah, Scott says work, never give up. How many times do you ever want to give up trying? I have many, many times in 15 years want to give up trying. I want to give up on my dream of walking and driving again someday. Because it's just hard. I'm going to table them. I talk to you, Michael. In California, they take away a lot of consciousness because of my brain injury. They immediately revoke, not suspend. They immediately revoke your license indefinitely. Not only that, I lose consciousness in California, they take your license away. But I was diagnosed being epileptic because my seizures. I have epilepsy, which when you're a driver and you have epilepsy, you have to be seizure free for a certain amount of time. But I fulfilled my promise to myself is to walk and to drive before I die. I don't think Scott meant drawing. I think he meant driving. It took us 6 years to get back driving, right, Scott? It took us 6 years to get back to be driving. Now every time I talk to Scott, he's always telling me, I drove here, I drove there. I drove right there. I drove from Georgia to New Jersey over Easter. I mean, that the freedom. Wow, you guys, you know, Michael, there's the sense of seeing when it comes to driving. Let's face it, when it comes to driving, you got a pretty good visual, pretty good response time, no doubt. So those are the things that we do want to get in. But I just wanted before we go, because man, 30 minutes goes by quick. Oh yeah, it's freedom. Scott, I can only imagine my brother who just had a stroke, which I finally had done friend because he kept on me telling me I was just not working about I had a brain injury, and he was saying he is doing the normal newbie stroke person thing, which is compare his stroke with mine. He assumes that my stroke is same as his is not. I'm not gonna give up, but boy, well, gosh, you're not gonna believe this. It's pretty much time to wrap it up. So, um, I say we keep going, boys. Keep trying to get better. Again, I may not be where I want to be. I may not be where I want to be, but at least I'm not where I was. Now I move forward. Now we move forward. We're gonna keep on keeping on. Yeah, my mice said none are the same. Here goes Scott, just touting all his accomplishments. You Scott, you're doing very well. Getting on my podcast, Mike about boys, Bew. I keep it. It's Michael Bew. For anybody out there listening, it's Michael Bew. I have a terrible habit of calling Michael Ba. I have no idea why. Fight to live, bro. Fight to live. Stroke cannot take away our life, our zeal, our zest for life. It tries, it tries, but it cannot. It's whether we let it. You know, you only fail when you stop trying, right? You only fail when you stop trying. Well, hey, Michael Scott, I appreciate you guys being out there. There's 4 people out there there, which is really great. I really want it. Next Friday, I'll be telling you, I think I'm in chapter 9 of my story, which I will be converting to a book. But next Friday at the same time, I'll be telling you chapter 9 of my story, which I've done going through it because I've got plenty of other stroke survivors to interview. Oh, Shay Patterson from Niagara Falls here. Hello, my sister Shay Patterson. We're about to go. Sorry, apologize. I'm sorry, but it's about over. Hey, we'll do this again. I really had a great time talking with you guys. Scott, Michael, Sherry, thank you for being on. The appreciate means a lot to me. And again, we'll be here in the same place, same time next Friday. So, hope you guys have a great time. I'll talk to you later, and um, hope everybody great. About moments here. If you guys ever want to just reach out, talk to me, feel free. I'm trying to find out what. Okay. Oh, hey, I want to mention something, guys. I found something called the Great Discovery, and it's an e-learning free. There are plenty of free courses. Something we don't do as stroke survivors necessarily. I don't. Is kind of try to stimulate and learn new things. This great discovery is a e-learning platform. It's free. You can join it free. To scan a QR code, you can get in there for free. You can sign up for free. You can watch many courses for free. And it really is a really great thing. So I wanted to tell you guys, check it out. Scan the QR code. All right, I'm going to get going, guys. It's time to wrap it up. And let's see if I can get this. I have no idea what's happening. Well, I have no idea. Well, I hope everybody has a great day, has a wonderful time. Love you guys. Have love endures your ways, and as they say, expand the joy. Your mission in life, if you choose to accept it, to help other stroke survivors. I love you guys. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Everybody have a great day. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for anybody watching this video. And remember, subscribe to Stroke TV Media on YouTube. Bye, y'all.